questions we wrestle with as Christians about who God is, how do we live out our faith, what is the Bible, what is the truth of the Bible, what are we supposed to believe, how are we supposed to live. There are really big, deep questions that we ask each other, that we ask God, that we wrestle with ourselves. And that's why the Cultivate podcast exists, to help us go deeper in our understanding of who God is, His Word, and the way that He's called us to live. Everyone, welcome to the Cultivate podcast with the Grove Church. I am Charlie Loften. I'm the lead pastor there, and we are here with
Abigail.
Bagel.
I actually told someone that the other day, and their face just screwed up of like, let me try and figure this out. And I was like, it's literally my name. Just take off
the A. It's like a nickname.
Yeah.
But instead of taking off the last part, you
take off the first part.
Like people who go by Topher. Christopher.
Whoa!
We've learned something today already. We haven't even opened up the Bible.
That's crazy.
Yep. Christopher.
But
right?
Who wants to go by Topher?
The Topher, what's his last name? Topher Grace?
I don't even know who that is. Oh, that okay. I was like, I know that name, but I don't remember who he is.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you just be...
I feel like we've already accomplished something. So thank you so much for joining us on the... What?
You'd be Arlie.
Or just Lee.
Or Harley.
How about Lee?
But you'd be pretty cool if you're Harley.
I don't know that I would be.
I think you'd wear it well.
No. It's equal parts a unisex name, right?
Harley?
Yeah.
I guess Charlie is too.
And also, you think about a guy named Harley, he's just tougher than me.
That's fair.
That's also why I'm not Chuck.
That's fair too.
Chuck.
All right, so Charlie fits.
Charlie works just fine. Charles, that's my lawyer name if I ever decide to become a lawyer.
Right.
Anyways, we just started a series on the parables.
Mm-hmm.
Then we took a little holiday break.
Yes.
Did you have a good holiday?
I did. Okay. It was great.
Good.
Felt weird being off for that long, but
now
good.
We're back. We're back. The dream team is back.
Hit the ground running.
And we spent 1 week just kind of talking about parables in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did the parable of the sower. Spent some time talking about that. And then you said just before we went on the air here, you think this might become
my favorite.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, I just haven't personally spent that much time really. I think I've just heard the Gospels from my childhood so much, like the stories, to where I haven't let them like impact me really. And so this is the first like intentional time I've given it.
Right. And
you're flipping the script on its head.
Right.
I've just never thought to look at it. I know we've only done one, but that was even just that nutshell of the one. It was like that. I never have read it like that.
So what we're going to do here, at least for now, with the first one we did, the parable of the sower, that's a good one to go with because Jesus gives it a full explanation and it's very well known. Well, so for today and for the next couple of weeks, there's several in Matthew chapter 13. So we're just gonna go in order.
Where the parable of the sower was?
Yeah, that's what. Okay. So this is in the gospel. This is called the parable of the weeds, and it is immediately after this. Now that does not mean that Jesus was sitting around and told the parable of the sower and then gave his explanation, and then because there's no other words, and he goes and it says then Jesus told them another parable. That does not mean that they were just sitting there. And he's like, and this is what the parable of the sower means.
Okay, next.
Also,
that's how I read it.
We don't really. This isn't necessarily. We don't necessarily know how much time has passed. They're not. When you're kind of organizing someone's teachings like Jesus in a literary structure like the gospel, you're not necessarily. And then this happened, and then this. The stories themselves, as far as what Jesus was doing, they're often organized that way.
Yeah.
But sometimes they just clump
a lot of the teachings
together. So we may not have a chronological reason to put these parables that we're going to be doing over the next 3 weeks together as close as we are, but there is definitely a literary reason why the author did, and we'll see if we can figure it out.
Was Matthew there?
Was Matthew where?
At these teachings?
Yeah.
Okay,
He already put the disciples together.
Okay.
I mean, I guess he could have been on holiday, but I mean,
it was his Christmas break.
he was a disciple at this point with Jesus pretty much 24/7. So
Okay.
this is firsthand accounting.
Okay.
And this is he's choosing
Which
immediately
ones?
after talking about the parable of the sower, immediately chooses to follow it up with this.
Okay.
Matthew 13, starting verse 24. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where did the weeds come from?" "An enemy did this," he replied. The servants asked him, "Do you want us to go and pull them up?" "No," he answered, "because while you are pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At that time, I will tell the harvesters, first collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned, then gather the wheat and bring it into my barn."
My first thought is like, there's probably something wrong with the farmer because of last week.
Yeah, so now we're back to farming again, right? At its basis, make sure we just kind of understood that. Sometimes I never want to assume that just because I read something that I've read a dozen times today, that me reading is, oh, everybody gets that. Okay. So a guy, just like last week, he's sowing, right? He's putting out seed, and he's asleep, and somebody comes in and sows in bad seed to grow weeds in the same garden. So you're looking while it's growing up. Like the next day you go and all you see is tilled land with seeds. You have no idea.
You don't know yet. Yeah.
You don't have any idea until the plants start growing.
Right.
So now you have a decision. Now you're seeing plants growing up together. And
so like a lot of time had passed though.
All right. So yeah, enough time for plants to start growing. So weeks, months, right? Now they're coming up, and now you're noticing that there are two things growing up together. The thing that you meant to plant and the weeds. And so now you've got two decisions. You can go in there and try to take out all the weeds, which would then allow the crop that you are wanting to grow better, because we are removing weeds. Weeds no longer are hindering the growth of the crop that you're trying to do. They're not competing for resources. We're getting all of these weeds out of there. And so that will allow the crop theoretically to be healthier. Or you can just let it happen. What's the advantage to letting it happen?
That you're not potentially pulling out the roots of the good. Yeah,
because while you are pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them, which is, of course, a very reasonable calculus to make. Like, you're not going to, you're just not capable of
pulling it right.
Exactly, pulling only weeds, all of the weeds, and not doing any damage to any of the crops.
Right.
So let's let the crop grow up to its fullest, and we'll sort it out later.
After, okay.
Right? And so you've got a choice.
But the risk is that the plants may not thrive.
They're not going to thrive as well as they would,
right,
if those things weren't there. And so, again, not being a farmer, you also not being a farmer, even though we grew up in
agrarian,
not really rural Arkansas.
No,
we grew up in what some people in Arkansas would call big cities.
Yes, definitely.
El Dorado population 25,000, and you're like, El Dorado's actually 19,000. It was bigger 40 years ago, but anyways. And then Jonesboro,
bigger than that.
It's big, yeah.
But we're surrounded by rice fields.
Yes. Yeah. So not being farmers, say like there's probably the decision that a farmer would make, without there being a spiritual thing that Jesus is doing here, probably would depend on what the exact crop is. There'd probably be different ones. Hey, this crop cannot thrive in weeds, right? This one is such a high yield crop that it's going to be fine without, and I would rather not lose any. And so that's the calculus that Jesus is making. What do we learn about Jesus? Okay, I guess we need to stop here. As we transition from farming, what is he talking about?
I have no idea, honestly. Because, my first thought is just like, you can't control where people are growing up in their faith, and you
Okay.
can't just take all the bad from around them because you may.
So
I don't know.
who do we think is the sower?
That's the person originally putting
The
out
person
the
that's
seed.
putting out the good seed. Who do we think that is?
God,
Okay. So what is the good seed?
the gospel,
Okay. And what grows up is
new life,
like
like someone coming to Christ.
yeah, so different people receiving the gospel.
Yeah,
And then the enemy is,
the devil,
and he is sowing,
confusion.
yeah. And so it is causing people, it's having a dual effect.
Mm-hmm.
People are growing up believing the lies,
Mm-hmm.
and it is
Mixed in with truth.
yeah, and it's causing the good crop to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean you don't get it? You
Was that right?
You just nailed it.
Oh,
You know
okay.
how I know that? Because just like last time.
Oh, does he explain it?
He explains this.
Wait, remind me the chapter you're in.
Matthew chapter 13, verse 36. Then he left the crowd and went into the house. His disciples came to him and said, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field." He answered, "The one who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man, Jesus."
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, we're
That's not-
Trinitarians, so sure. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out of his kingdom everything that causes sin and all who do evil. They will throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears, let them hear.
whew. That was intense.
Yeah, so like you said, we got a Jesus v Satan situation going on here,
Mhm.
and they are both trying to cast seed into the world. They're trying to create influence of people.
Mhm.
The interesting thing is we make sure we understand the person who owns the field
Is Jesus,
is Jesus.
Son of Man.
And that's just real. I think that's just an important thing to kind of keep in mind. We think of, we talk about that the world is the devil's domain.
Sure.
Right?
Uh-huh.
It still belongs to Jesus. Even if he has given Satan more access to it than we
But
wish.
he's not the owner.
Which is what this parable is
saying.
talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The world belongs to Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
He has complete control over it.
Right.
And again, we can't, I was about to say get into the weeds too much, but that's not a great thing to say. So in this, the devil sows the seed without the knowledge of the owner, but
right.
That's
okay. That was going to be my question.
That's taking it a little far, but
is it I can't remember what verse it was, but saying that the crop is the kingdom.
The crop are the people. People are the crop.
And so what's the kingdom and not the kingdom in the parable?
That is what we're discovering over the course of all of these parables.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus has come to bring the kingdom.
Yeah.
And in the minds of...
Isn't he the kingdom?
Wouldn't he be the king?
Well, I guess I'm thinking of John the Baptist saying he was clearing the way
for
Jesus, and he was kingdom come.
Yeah, so he is the king, and he's bringing the kingdom.
Okay.
He's bringing... that's what Jesus is doing. He is bringing the kingdom. What does that mean?
That's not like the cross is not the crucifixion is not the kingdom come. Him coming is kingdom come.
Okay, so we are...
off the rails?
We are... No.
Okay.
You're asking really good questions. But Jesus, the Son of Man, the Son of God, in the Old Testament, when he comes, the kingdom of God will come. Mm-hmm. So now he's here.
Mm-hmm.
And we have already had Matthew chapter 6, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things we added to you. We've already had discussions about we have the Sermon on the Mount that kind of talks about what the kingdom of God is going to be like. Blessed are these people, blessed are these people,
Mhm.
blessed are these people, talking about what the kingdom should be like. And people are wondering, okay, what is this?
Yeah.
You sit here 2,000 years later with a certain idea, and you're already kind of skipping ahead. Well, isn't that Jesus dying on the cross, and now he's created the church? Like, but
Well,
let's go back.
I would think
hold
Jesus'
on.
birth.
Let's go back, huh?
I would think his birth would be the kingdom come moment.
Well, that would be the birth of the king. A king being born is not the same as the
kingdom
king
being...
has created his kingdom.
Okay.
He's bringing a king. He's going to
Mhm.
bring a kingdom. So right now, the Israelite people are an occupied nation
Mhm.
by the Romans, and have been occupied, except for a very brief window of time in between the Old and New Testament, have been an occupied, ruled nation
Mhm.
since, for 600-700 years.
Mhm.
And all of these prophecies, a lot of which we looked at in December in our Christmas series, we
Right.
talked about it, that there is going to be someone from the line of David, and he's going to sit on the throne forever.
Mhm.
And so, and they understood that to have a short-term fulfillment and a longer-term one that was going
Mhm.
to come when the Son of God comes. So now he has come, and he is now associating himself
with kingdom.
all of these prophecies.
Mhm.
So you hear Jesus say, I'm the Son of God, I'm the Messiah, I'm the fulfillment of all these prophecies, and I've come to bring the kingdom. You think what?
I think that must be who they were talking about.
Right. So, and what kind of kingdom is Jesus going to bring in their minds?
Oh, and they're probably thinking they're going to get their land back or something.
Yeah, like king and kingdom only mean one thing,
Right? Yeah.
He is going to be the king. Caesar is
like
no
a
longer
literal ruler.
Caesar is no longer going to be the king.
Uh-huh.
There was always this push all throughout the Gospels for revolution. When is it going to happen?
Mm.
And is now when you're going to do it? And Jesus will be like, stop.
Yeah.
And then even after his death and resurrection, and he's gathering them up to talk about the Great Commission, he's like,
that's still not it.
is now the time that you're going
Right.
to do it? And he's like, that is not for you to know.
Uh-huh.
And then he gives them the Great Commission, then he leaves.
So
What these parables are doing, and we're going to see it even more explicitly in the next one, we're talking about the mustard seed
Mhm.
and the leaven, which is, he's going to say, and the kingdom of God is like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we are doing is we are learning about what the kingdom is.
Okay.
So what they're thinking is the kingdom is going to be Jesus rallies an army, conquers the Romans, kicks them all out.
Mhm.
Israel becomes a nation, and we are forever established as God's people and a nation forever, because that's what was said. The person that fulfills all of these prophecies
Mhm.
is going to be our king forever. So that is what they're thinking. And now Jesus comes in and says, let me tell you a little bit about what the kingdom is like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a guy who is sowing seed out in the field, and good things happen, but at the same time, enemies come in and sow in different things. And as they're raising up together, the king looks at it and says, we're just going to let this be for a little bit, and we'll sort it all out in the end.
Okay.
If I think kingdom means Jesus is about to wipe out the Romans, and
Right.
then he tells that parable, now what am I thinking?
You're thinking he's a sit back and wait. Not sit back and wait, but that's not like a very active, proactive.
Yeah, I mean, because who would they have associated with the enemy is sowing seeds and raising up evil people that are battling against the kingdom of God?
The Romans?
The Romans.
Okay.
At a minimum,
Mm-hmm.
Gentiles in general, but specifically the Romans, right? And so what they're expecting him, and the kingdom of God is like this. He walked into a field and saw that there was good and bad, and he went in there and he wiped out the bad and elevated the good, and like the thing that Jesus says at the end, where he says it's going to be like this, it's all going to get burnt in the fire, and everything that's bad is going to get burnt away, and God's people, like with what that's now.
Yeah.
That is not something that we are waiting for.
Okay.
That is the thing. You're here now. We do that now.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus said the kingdom actually is not going to be like that. I'm coming in here with a message
Right.
that is going to grow up, but it is going to grow up alongside evil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually going to be tolerated. The
Mm-hmm.
evil is going to be tolerated until the very, very, very end.
So last week, I feel like the big thing I walked away from was kind of correcting a view of God, that they wouldn't have thought of God as this generous. They would have thinking more selective and a tribe type mentality. But still above that is a correction of the view of the kingdom.
Right.
And so that's the same for here, that like you can learn a reframing correct truth about God, a correct truth about all of these things. And above that, he's explaining this is really what the kingdom is like.
I would say at least in this one, I think the big takeaway from the last one is more God is not who I thought he was. And because of that, it has implications for the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost think this one is a little bit reversed.
Okay.
The kingdom is not what I thought it was going to be, and that tells me something about God.
Mm-hmm. So they were like literally thinking about a kingdom coming.
Yes.
And so hearing this, they would be connecting it to the kingdom they were hoping was coming and having to rewrite that in their minds.
If they're paying attention, again, like it's like if they're really and this is where Jesus says, if you have ears to hear, hear it.
Yeah.
Some people didn't have ears to hear it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. But
Yeah.
if you really think about it and go, okay, so the sower just let evil thrive. He let it thrive without doing much about it, and said he's going to sort it out in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So yeah,
which goes to answer one of the questions that people ask all the time. Why does God
let bad things happen?
Yeah.
So I have no relation to a person who is in a controlled state. What do you think their reaction to this would have they been let down by hearing this, or is it more hopeful to them, or?
Well, I feel like one of the ultimate answers to that is kind of found in the person of Judas, who more than anyone seems to be particularly motivated to urge Jesus to become a literal king.
Yeah.
And some people who are wanting to kind of give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt would say that even in his betrayal, what he thought he was doing was forcing Jesus' hand.
Okay.
You're not bringing the kingdom quickly enough and in the way that I thought, but if I bring the Pharisees who are going to bring Roman soldiers with them to confront you, and your only choice is to either be arrested and killed or fight and bring the kingdom, you're not going to let him kill you, because so like even in the betrayal of Judas, there's a sense in which like Judas understood who Jesus was.
Right.
It wasn't like, and some people talk about it this way, like, well, he didn't even really believe in Jesus.
I know he did.
If he didn't really believe in Jesus, bro, just walk away.
Him. Yeah.
No sense in, it probably wasn't worth 30 pieces of silver.
Right.
But then when he gets arrested, Judas's heart is broken. Because he betrayed a really good person.
Yeah.
Who's ultimately now going to be tortured and killed, and I'm responsible for it. But I don't think that is the outcome that he thought. He thought he was
going to actually
step up, forcing Jesus's hand to do this thing.
Yeah.
Because, so it seems like, so then you ask the question, what do you think people heard when he said it? I'm like, it would seem that at least one of the inner circle wasn't even really listening very closely.
Okay.
Because
that would have flipped the narrative.
It would at least tried. And especially we'll go to the one next week, even more so. The kingdom is not what you think it is. It is not this kind of thing that just kind of comes in with a conquering force. It comes in like this. It looks like this. It's going to have these sorts of aspects to it.
Yeah.
And so I think most of this, again, this is all we know. We only live in a post-resurrection world. and we've got 2,000 years of hindsight.
Right.
I would imagine that most of this did not come into clear focus for them
At that time.
until, I don't know, Pentecost.
Okay.
Somewhere between the Great Commission, Jesus leaving, them hanging out, the Holy Spirit coming, they're like,
Mm-hmm.
now we're throwing seeds out there.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. It is about the thing that you were saying, 10 minutes ago. What's about the cross, right? I mean, it's about the cross, and it's the message. It's the gospel, right? That comes from 2,000 years of reflection on this that I don't think that they got until at least several months afterwards.
Was there anything within it? I guess the fact that the sower, the farmer, that's like one and the same, right?
Yeah.
That he wasn't immediately going in to cut out the bad. Would have that communicated any type of like, oh, God is really like this?
Again, you have to. I think we talked about this 2 weeks ago when we talked about this kind of way parables are. Really, they have one real big idea.
Okay.
Right? They have one real big idea. And there's some ancillary things that we can say, well, by saying it this way, he likely also meant this, and saying it this way, he meant this, and we're kind of getting to secondary and tertiary. Come on now. Tertiary ideas. And you have to be a little bit more careful. And so I think we've already kind of hit the main idea.
Okay.
However, like thing I said, I think the main thing we're learning is we're learning something about the kingdom, which then implies something about who God is.
Mm-hmm.
He has a high tolerance, and a high patience for evil.
That's what I meant by the sit back and wait, not that he's passive,
right? And I think he again, there's something to be said, because very explicitly, I don't want to do any damage to
when people could still turn and choose.
Right. I don't want to do any. I could be doing damage to good things by taking out bad. You think it's bad, and so you rip it out, and it turned out it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not like they're all, all of these are green and all of these are purple.
Yeah.
And they're a good healthy distance away from each other. It's just close enough. And it's like we won't really know, but in the end, it will definitely be known.
Yeah.
And so he has a high patience for evil, and he has, like you said, a real desire for people to turn.
Yeah.
Now, when you start talking about giving people the opportunity to turn, now this metaphor doesn't make sense anymore.
Right.
A weed cannot become
a plant. Whatever.
Well, God can do anything. Yes, but now we're out of the metaphor. We're into something very different. Yes, God can turn a weed into a...
Yes.
And so, again, 2,000 years of hindsight later, we recognize, that is exactly what God is doing. And so not only is he, I don't want to gather up the weeds because it might take out a good plant, we also live in a time where the supernatural work of God is turning weeds into good plants.
Right.
And we don't want to inhibit that. And God is willing to tolerate a measure of evil in order to give more opportunities for good.
Ultimately shows his desire for people.
Right. And so then now we're not asked we ask the question so often, why does God let bad things happen? I don't think that's the right question. All due respect to the people who have been asking it for thousands of years and continue to ask it.
Right.
I think the question is not why does God tolerate evil? Why does God tolerate so much evil? We can come up with many reasons why God should accept and tolerate a certain amount.
Yeah.
Tolerating a certain amount has some obvious potential benefits.
Yeah.
To let you go through a little bit of hardship is going to allow you to go through something even better.
Yeah.
Or if we wiped out all of evil now, some people who would have turned away lose their chance too early. We can imagine it. But I think it comes to a certain...
Yeah.
Okay, but...
No, you're taking it really far.
You could tamp it down a little bit, though. You can still accomplish all those things and tamp it down. So I think the question is...
Why so much?
Why so much?
Yeah.
This, I think, definitively answers the question, why does God tolerate evil? but it does not necessarily help us with why does God tolerate
so much of it.
so much evil.
Mhm.
And especially then the corrupting influence that evil then has on the world and you in particular, right? I just think about people who have small babies die,
Mhm.
right? That is not a direct result of the baby's sin,
Right.
but it is
The
a
evil that
secondary
has-
thing that happens because of the corrupting influence that has existed in the world.
Right.
Why would God let this happen? Well, it's really why would God let this happen so much that it has these
Mhm.
secondary effects? But that is not the
Yeah.
topic of this thing.
Well, so this may be going outside of the realm of the parable, but you're saying that I guess the Jewish people were the ones listening to this, hoping he would be the king that they've been waiting for. Would have the, I guess, Pharisees or any Romans have heard it and be scared that he actually is that?
I don't think the Romans thought anything about Jesus at all.
Okay.
Individual ones might have, you got people who, a centurion that heard about Jesus and healed one of his servants and obviously
Mhm.
believed and had faith and trust in Jesus. But on a macro scale, I could not imagine that Roman people had any idea.
Okay.
Like they bring him to Pontius Pilate, the governor,
And he doesn't.
I don't
He's
even-
like, do you really want me to persecute him?
I don't even know who this. He didn't even know who this. I don't know who this is.
Okay.
Why would they care about religious arguments that are happening in the fringes of this one little country that is relatively insignificant to them?
But they also weren't afraid of maybe this people group's prophecies are coming true.
I know these really, really impoverished people, and there's like 100 of them.
Okay.
They might sharpen sticks and come after the
Okay.
legions of Roman soldiers.
So it was mainly to the Jewish people that had been hoping that this would come.
Right.
Okay.
And the way that Jesus was conducting himself, the Pharisees didn't think he was that sort of person because he was a little too kind to sinners.
Right.
He wasn't the right kind of person, and so
Mhm.
they were dismissive of him too. The last thing that we need to make sure that we cover is the thing that what you said when we read it. You said, "Oh boy, that's heavy."
The end of it
is the end of it. I mean, that is a significant part of it. So patience, let it grow up together. Patience,
Mhm.
patience. And
consequence.
then in the end, there's a finality there.
Mhm.
There is corrupted weeds that have been doing damage, and then there is good. And
Right.
it says he's going to remove everything that has been causing sin so that the righteous people can then experience
The good. The fullness of good.
Right. And so there is a finality. There is a real judgment. It has a finality to it, and God's patience will eventually go, okay, well, I gave you all the chances I feel like I could,
Mhm.
and now there is a finality of judgment, which really speaks against what we would now call Christian universalism, which is
Everybody ultimately gets there.
ultimately he's just going to keep giving chances even post death.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of really good people that fully believe in Jesus that kind of have a little bit of that in them.
Mhm.
And I ain't trying to be mad at them, but I also think that even amongst the Jesus is so nice crowd,
Right.
we've got some evidence here that Jesus is not quite as nice as you want him to be. God is way more patient than a Pharisee thought,
Mhm.
but there is a finality.
Well, there's a justice.
There is a real judgment that is going
Mhm.
where justice is going to be done at the very end.
I feel like minimally there should be the ability to acknowledge that things do need to be set right because they've gone so wrong.
Mm.
But is
Right.
that just hard for some people to wrap their minds around?
Well, I mean, I think in the end, God is just a big old softy,
Okay.
right? He's just a big old teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
Like Grandpa's not going to stay mad at you forever. Dad might, Mom might,
Right.
Grandpa won't, right?
Yeah.
Grandma won't, right? That
Mhm.
like we switch him from dad to granddad,
Grandpa. Yeah.
who just
He's just sweet at the end of the day. Yeah.
right, and then
Yeah.
eventually punishment is just not something that would cross the mind.
Mm-hmm.
But again, now we have touched on two things. We have touched on why does God tolerate evil, and Christian universalism,
Yes.
which is, I'm afraid, outside the scope of this particular podcast episode. So, but these are the issues that get raised, and again, we're just getting started.
Yeah,
we're only two parables in.
I know.
And now next week we get to go through. We're going to look at two parables. They're essentially the same parable. They're one verse each. Can we create an entire podcast?
I'm sure we can.
Around essentially just two verses that are essentially the same verse repeated twice.
Why does that? Is that how they wrote back then, or is that how he spoke?
In verses?
No. Like a repeated, like.
I mean, most good teachers will.
So is that what he's doing at that point, though, or did he like say it two different times?
Well, it's, and we're gonna. Well, there's a few examples of this.
We can talk about it. Next
we'll do it again with like the parable of the coin and the lost sheep. That's the same. Yeah. That's the same thing back to back. Yeah. These two are the same thing. Hey, It's like this. And if you didn't catch it, it's also like this. Okay. I'm going to give you two illustrations of the same idea, and maybe you'll be able to connect one with them. Well, again, we've got 30 minutes, and we're going to have to cover a very small amount. I can't also cover it now. Then we'll say next week.
We're stealing, yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much for joining us, Bagel. Thank you, as always, for being here with us. And if you want more information about our church, you can go to thegrovechurch.org. You can fill out information there. If you are a regular listener and you just want to send us questions, please do that. info@thegrovechurch.org, or you can go to thegrovechurch.org/connect. Lots of different ways. We would love to hear from you, figure out how we can help you. We'd love for you to join us on a Sunday morning, either in person or online. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Cultivate podcast. Our hope is that you are taking steps to go deeper in your faith, that you are asking big questions and you're looking for answers. We hope that we can be a resource for you through our podcast and any other way that we can help you. You can find all our episodes anywhere that you can find podcasts, including YouTube. And again, thank you so much for joining us.